Rare history facts. 1. The Statue of Liberty was originally a lighthouse. When gifted to the U.S. in 1886, it served as a lighthouse for ships entering New York Harbor. 2. A war was fought over a bucket. The War of the Oaken Bucket 1325 started between two Italian city-states after one stole the other's bucket. 3. George Washington's teeth weren't wooden, they were made from human, cow, and even hippopotamus teeth. 4. Ancient Romans used gladiator sweat as skincare. Wealthy Roman women believed it had beautifying properties and would collect it in bottles. 5. A city banned snowball fights. Severance, Colorado, had a law banning snowball fights until a 9-year-old boy successfully got it overturned in 2018. The first selfie was taken in 1839. Robert Cornelius, an American photographer, took the first ever self-portrait, making it the original selfie. The Soviet Union once banned emojis in the 1980s. The Soviet government discouraged people from using smiley faces in writing, considering them too Western. The US once lost a nuclear bomb in 1958. A B-47 bomber accidentally dropped an unarmed nuclear bomb off the coast of Georgia. It was never found. The Leaning Tower of Pisa wasn't meant to lean. It started tilting during construction in the 12th century because of weak ground, but engineers spent 800 years stabilizing it. A man survived both atomic bombs. Tsutomu Yamaguchi was in Hiroshima when the first bomb hit, survived, then traveled to Nagasaki where he survived the second bombing. Most bizarre history facts. Ancient Romans had fast food restaurants. Thermopylae were ancient Roman food stalls where people could grab quick meals, basically the McDonald's of ancient times. An astronaut was once forgotten in space in 1991. Soviet cosmonaut Sergei Krikalev was stranded in space when the Soviet Union collapsed. He was stuck for 311 days. The first recorded airplane passenger was a sheep in 1783. A sheep, a duck, and a rooster were sent up in a hot air balloon by the Montgolfier brothers in France. The Great Wall of China wasn't that effective despite its massive size. It didn't fully stop invasions. Mongols simply bribed guards or went around it. In medieval times, animals went on trial, and pigs, rats, and even insects were put on trial and sentenced for crimes like destroying crops or attacking people. A pope once banned coffee in the 1600s. Pope Clement VIII was asked to ban coffee, but after tasting it, he declared it delicious and allowed it to spread. A Japanese soldier didn't surrender for 29 years. Hiro Noda, a World War II soldier, continued fighting in the jungle until 1974, refusing to believe the war had ended. The first vending machine was invented in ancient Greece. Hero of Alexandria created a coin-operated machine that dispensed holy water in temples. A man once survived 7 lightning strikes. Park ranger Roy Sullivan was struck by lightning 7 times between 1942 and 1977 and survived them all. The first subway system was built before electricity. London's Underground opened in 1863 and used steam-powered trains, filling tunnels with smoke. Mind-blowing history facts. Julius Caesar was once kidnapped by pirates. When they demanded a ransom of 20 talents, he laughed and told them to ask for 50. After he was freed, he returned and had them all executed. In the 1800s, people ate mummies. European doctors used ground-up mummy powder, called mumia, as medicine, believing it had healing powers. A town in Canada was stolen in 1950. A man posing as a government official convinced people in the town of Kitsall to pack up and leave. The town was abandoned overnight. A man escaped Alcatraz using a spoon and a raincoat in 1962. Frank Morris and 2 other inmates dug through a wall using spoons and built a raft from raincoats. They were never found. A U.S. president was once a hangman before becoming president. Grover Cleveland worked as a sheriff and personally carried out hangings. Here are some rare history. 1. The U.S. once planned to nuke the moon in the 1950s. During the Cold War, the U.S. considered detonating a nuclear bomb on the moon to intimidate the Soviet Union. 2. The first recorded meme was in ancient Rome. In Pompeii, archaeologists found graffiti that was basically an ancient version of "For a Good Time" call, scratched into a wall. 3. Albert Einstein was offered the presidency of Israel in 1952. Israel asked Einstein to become its president, but he declined, saying he wasn't good with people. 4. Ancient Egyptians had the first police dogs. Pharaohs used trained dogs and monkeys to help enforce law and order in ancient Egypt. 5. A pig started a war in 1859. A dispute between the U.S. and Britain over a pig that ate potatoes nearly led to war. It was called the Pig War, but luckily, no shots were fired. The CIA used cats as spies in the 1960s. The CIA implanted microphones in cats in Operation Acoustic Kitty. The first mission failed when the cat got hit by a car. A medieval king died because of his own fat. King Adolf Frederick of Sweden ate himself to death in 1771 after consuming a massive meal, including 14 servings of dessert. A train robber escaped prison in a handmade wooden coffin in 1984. Texan thief Tony Hathaway built a fake coffin, climbed inside, and got carried out of prison like a real-life movie scene. A London beer flood killed 8 people in 1814. A massive beer vat exploded, flooding the streets with over 300,000 gallons of beer. Ancient Romans used urine as a cleaning product. It was rich in ammonia and used for washing clothes and even whitening teeth. There were female samurai known as onobugeisha. These women fought alongside men in feudal Japan. Hitler's nephew fought against him. William Patrick Hitler, Adolf Hitler's nephew, served in the U.S. Navy during World War II. Stonehenge was sold for cheap in 1915. It was auctioned off for just £6,600, about $10,000 at the time, before being donated to the British government. A 12-year-old became King of England. King Edward VI, son of Henry VIII, ruled from age 9 to 15 before dying young. Napoleon wasn't that short. He was actually about 5 feet 7, average for his time, but British propaganda exaggerated his height. The Eiffel Tower was almost scrapped. It was meant to be temporary and nearly dismantled in 1909 before becoming a permanent landmark. War lasted 38 minutes. The Anglo-Zanzibar War in 1896 is the shortest war in history, lasting just 38 minutes. 4. Cleopatra lived closer to the moon landing than the pyramids. The Great Pyramid was built around 2560 BC, while Cleopatra ruled around 30 BC. 5. A 17-year-old designed the modern American flag in 1958. Robert Heft created the 50-star flag as a school project, which was later adopted officially. The Great Fire of London 1666 destroyed much of the city, including 87 churches and 13,000 homes. It started in a bakery and lasted for days. The Moon Landing 1969. Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin became the first humans to walk on the moon during the Apollo 11 mission. 3. The French Revolution 1789 to 1799. The revolution led to the fall of the monarchy, rise of democracy, and the execution of King Louis XVI. 4. The Berlin Wall 1961 to 1989 divided East and West Berlin during the Cold War, symbolizing the separation of communism and capitalism.